Hi, and welcome to a child nutrition training video. Today we're going to talk about certify reports, specifically the results message. Siblings should have the same free or reduced price meal program status. So let's start by looking at the scorecard summary. Okay, now you're receiving emails daily of these results messages, and if you go to the scorecard, then let's look at the one at the bottom, which is siblings should have the same free and reduced price meal program status. The other messages you may be seeing we'll talk about in another video. So once you open up this report, it scrolls all the way to the right. So we're going to look at it in segments. You can also download the result table to Excel if you would like to do so, completely up to you. So to begin with, the first three columns, we have the student ID, student first name, and student last name, and we're going to call this student 1. So with the information from student 1, we want to open up Primero and look up that student according to their name or ID number. Okay? So now we're going to go back to the certify report and scroll a little bit more to the right and look for student 2. We have an ID number, a first name, and a last name, and this is our student number 2. Now we want to look this student up in Primero as well and start to compare the information. What I like to do is open up Primero in Google Chrome and put that on half my screen, and then open up Primero in Internet Explorer and put it on the other half of the screen. The reason is you can't have two tabs of Primero in Google Chrome open at the same time, so you'll be flipping back and forth trying to look up both students. So that's just a little trick I use to split screen and be able to look at both students at the same time. So we're back to the certify report and scrolling all the way to the right, and here it's going to tell us why these students were matched. Was it on email address? Was it on actual physical address? And so forth. And this is going to be important in a minute as we start researching this match a little bit further. Now, just because they are matched on the certify report does not 100% guarantee that they should be matched in Primero. There will be instances where, let's say, for example, the guardian is mom, but the student permanently lives with grandma right now. Well, they will not be part of the same household of siblings living under another roof. Remember, we're looking at eligibility by household, and household means an economic unit living under one roof. It doesn't necessarily mean um, uh, siblings who are related. So siblings could live in 3 different households if they're living in 3 different locations. So just because they're on a certified report does not guarantee that their eligibility is going to be changed. We have to look into this a little bit further, which is what we're doing while we have our split screens. Okay, so here we are at our split screens, and we have, for example, student 1 on the left and student 2 on the right. And we're going to start looking at information to make sure everything lines up to allow us to change their eligibility based on TDA regulations. So the first thing we're looking at here is the address. What is their physical address? If their physical address is the same, then they are part of the same household and should share eligibilities. Okay? So here on the left, we can see the student is paid. Here on the right, the student is free by DC SNAP. So it looks like in this case, the student number 1 just was not matched to the household when that DC list came in. And so that's something that we can do manually, and then the error message will be cleared. Other tabs we could look into if they had different addresses and we had to look into this a little bit further would be on demographics, shows the guardian information, and then on the household tab, once we determine if sibling 1 and sibling 2 should be part of the same household, we want to update it on the household tab too. Okay, so if these 2 students are indeed part of the same household, then on the left, our student number 1, we would need to add all those siblings that were on student number 2 on the right. So the left and the right would match up with all of the siblings in the household. Okay. Okay. In the case we just looked at, the issue was that most of the students in the household were on the DC list or had been matched to the student who was on the DC list, whereas our student number 1 on the right had not been. So this is an easy fix. Again, we are back in Promero and go to student eligibility and then administration and DC matching. Now, CNAs have access to do this. I know some district coordinators prefer to do this themselves and just work with you on verifying siblings. So however your district coordinator runs your district is the procedures you follow. Okay, but CNAs do have access to this. So once we're in DC matching, if you go to the top, you'll see potential matches. That is the first tab. And all the potential matches will be listed here because Promero is going to run a sibling search of its own to see where those potential matches are based on a variety of matching criteria. Interestingly enough, when I pulled up the DC matching, on the first row was that sibling number 1 we just looked up. So the sibling had been identified and had just not been matched yet. So it's very important that you look at this at the beginning of every month once your district coordinator has uploaded the DC list into Promero to go through potential matches and make sure you are matching students as we go. If they are not in the potential match list, you can always go to sibling search, which is the second tab over, and then you enter in the first under approved student ID is the student you know is on the DC list, and then the sibling student ID would be that sibling that you are matching up who is currently paid because they weren't linked. So you can do this manually, but remember, you want to make sure that they're part of the same household. Okay. Okay, if the discrepancy is because a student, let's say, enrolled later and for some reason was left off of an eligibility application, we can go add them to the application. What you'll want to do is pull up the application that's active for the household, okay, and then click on validate. Now, y'all validate applications all the time, so I'm not going to go step by step through that, but you pull up the active application and click on validate. And then at the top under students, you're going to click on that icon with the 3 dots. And then that will open up a dialog box where you can search for that additional student and add them to the application and click save. Don't forget to click save. And then the student will be added to the application and be receiving the same benefits as the rest of the household. And that should clear out the error messages from Certify on later reports once you have these students matched up. Again, just because they're on the report is not an automatic that their eligibility needs to be changed. We have to do a little detective work and make sure they are part of the same household and then make those changes. If you have any questions, please contact your district child nutrition coordinator, and I will see you next time on the next video. Bye.